Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Frameworks Third Web workshop, Build Onchain Frames with Third Web. Joining us today is Sean Watase, who will be taking us through the session. And with that, I will pass it over to Sean and get the session started.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Again, my name is Sean Tasse. I'm a DevRel at thirdweb. And yeah, today we're going to go over building a Farcaster frame, not only building a frame, but kind of building the ability to be able to mint an NFT, but require things like you have to have liked a specific cast or recasted a specific cast. So in a way, giving requirements to the user before they're able to claim your NFT from a frame. So we'll jump right into it actually. Right now, if you can see my screen, this is the frame validator tool from Warpcast here. This is essentially where you can test out your frames before actually putting them up and casting them onto Farcaster. So I have a frame right over here. Let me just reload this really quick. Just to kind of walk through a demo of what this looks like, of what we're going to be building. So you land on a frame. I just have a little placeholder image here. You hit the Get Started button. It then states, hey, you have to like and recast to mint this NFT. Now, because I haven't casted this out, I actually just have a separate cast on the side, which is just a little testing here. So I made this the requirement to like and recast, but when creating your frame, you could just add the cast that your frame is part of as the requirement. So again, you can see here, I liked and recasted this cast here. So when I click on to the next one, it's actually going to give me the ability to mint an NFT. So if I come here, I actually have also a test contract. This is deployed through thirdweb as well. You can see here, right now I currently have 3 NFTs claimed, these 3 right over here. We'll also be utilizing something called thirdweb's engine, which is just an HTTP server, which allows you to interact with contracts online. So what we'll be able to do is utilize that to actually mint the NFTs for us. So right over here, we can see I don't have any transactions going, but if I were to mint this NFT here, you can see, hey, congrats, the NFT was sent to your wallet. We can check engine really quick. You can see a transaction was put through, it's queued, transactions being sent. And again, engine is handling all of this behind the scenes for us. And as soon as this is mined here, we should be able to check our contract here. And let me just refresh this page real quick. And there you go. We now have our NFT claimed. You can see the NFT has now been sent to us. So a quick example of what we are going to go over in this workshop on creating that specific type of frame. So just an overview of what we're going to be doing. We'll build out the frame first. We'll then use Nanar to actually be able to fetch the reactions of a specific cast. So that's how we'll be able to check if a user has actually liked and recasted the cast that we specify. And then we'll again use thirdweb's engine to be able to claim and mint the NFT. We'll also be able to check if a user has an NFT. I didn't add that logic into this demo here just so I could repeatedly show how to mint the NFT. But we'll also be able to check to make sure, hey, if a user already owns the NFT, they shouldn't be able to claim as much of these NFTs as they want. They should only be able to claim one. So we'll go over that as well. So I'm going to come on over into my code editor here. And we'll really quickly go through a bunch of this stuff here. Now, we also have a tutorial video going over this. We have some links to like the GitHub repo and everything of what I'm going over. We won't be able to like fully go through. I'll quickly go over through all the code within the time frame that we have. But essentially, to build a frame, if you haven't ever built one before, this is just a next project, and we're in the document file here. And building out frames is essentially using these meta tags here that you see. We can specify that we are building out a frame. We can put a frame image. So that's the image that gets displayed inside of your frame. And right over here, I just have it set to, again, a placeholder image. We have our post URL and a button. So with the button, You can set up to, I believe, 4 buttons with frames. We're only going to be using one here, but we have the text or the content of that button set to get started. So again, that's the button the user will be pressing as they navigate through the frame that we've built. And again, this what that button will be doing is calling this post URL here, which in this case, we are going to have different stages depending on where they are within the claim process. And again, we'll kind of go over that when we get into building the API for the Mint. So again, building out the frame itself is fairly easy. It's just using these meta tags, and you set the image and the button content of your frame. What we've also done here is we've created a compute HTML file. Essentially, this is going to take a image path, a post type, and content here. And essentially what this is doing is, as we create the different slides within our frame, we can set different image paths to change the image of our frame. We're going to use post type to basically give us what step the user is within claiming the NFT. So we have 3 different steps. And then content, this is going to be the actual content of the button. So we can change the text and everything, say, hey, like, and recast in order to mint, change the text to mint. So essentially this compute HTML file here is going to allow us to take in those changes that we want. So we can set new image paths here. We'll set the post type here and then against the content of the button. So again, this is how we're able to kind of change the slides and the data that's being presented on our frame. Now, the first part of building out the actual frame is building out the requirements that we want our users to do, which is to be able to like and recast a specific cast. So again, we're going to be using Nanar for this. And what we're going to do here is actually create a class here. We called it a work cast. We did this for our demo just because many people were familiar with work cast, but essentially you are going to be using Nanar right over here. And if I come over to Nanar's docs really quick. In Nanar, we're going to be able to fetch a cast. So given a cast URL or a cast hash, we can actually, let me just grab my URL here real quick, just so I can show you folks. So I post that URL in. What we'll be able to receive is information about a specific cast. And down here, we have reactions. So we can check and fetch the reactions like likes and recast. You can see it'll provide us with the FID of the user and the F name as well. But we'll basically be able to use that FID and check, hey, is the person interacting with our frame? Does their FID match the FIDs that liked and recasted this cast? And that's how we'll be able to validate if a user can then mint our NFT. So coming back here, this we basically create a class for checking this here. We define our schemas for our reactions, again, checking likes and recasts. We also have to validate the message. This is something that you'll have to do when creating a frame, is just to validate the user interacting with it. And then we create a class called workcast here. And this is going to essentially, right over here, get the information from our cast. So when we fetch all the reactions, we are going to get the information that we want from that cast from Nanar, and then we can create and check if someone has casted. So we have 2 functions here that basically take in the FID number of the user interacting with our frame. And we're checking that against the recast to make sure that that recast FID, there is an FID that matches. Same thing with likes. That's how we're just checking again, have they interacted with that specific cast. And then down at the bottom here, Nanar also has a validate message. So for frames, Nanar here has a frame. Right over here, Nanar also has the ability to validate your frame against the interacting user. So there we'll be able to validate everything here. We just need to provide the validation. And that is going to validate our message. So being able to validate, check has recasted and check has liked. Again, those two things will check. And that's all we need to do on Naynar's end. So again, we're just getting the likes and recast, checking it against the FID of the user. So once we check that and say, hey, we have everything that we need to go ahead and now claim the NFT, we're going to use, again, thirdweb's engine to do this. So in here, we just created a fetcher.ts file. We're going to do similar things, but with thirdweb's engine. We're going to create our schemas here for the mint response, also the owned response too. So again, like I was mentioning, you can check if a user owns the NFT, and if they already own one, they shouldn't be able to claim another NFT. So we'll go through that code in here, but again, that wasn't available in the demo, just so I could demonstrate claiming the NFT multiple times. In here, we can get an instance of engine here. Now, engine, I'm going to run through that really quick here. So again, with thirdweb, you can provide your own instance of engine. So you can run your own instance of engine, or you can create a managed version through us as well. But once you have your own instance of engine, you'll just take the URL that it's hosted on, and that's the URL that you need to provide when initializing engine here, and then you'll get an access token. So once you have imported engine into the dashboard of thirdweb, you can go into permissions and get an access token to be able to utilize it. And once you have that, we can then check the owned NFTs. Again, we'll be able to check if the user owns specific amounts of the NFT. So if we just want to check if they have one, again, we'll use engine. I am using a pre-built contract through thirdweb as well. So right over here, I'm able to use an extension to just say, hey, I'm using an ERC 721 from thirdweb, and we're going to use get owned, and we'll be able to check the receiver. So that's the address of who we're checking the owned NFTs for, the chain that it's on, and then the contract address of the NFT contract that we're checking for. And in response, that's going to give us the amount or the balance of the NFT that they own. And we can say, hey, if it's greater than 0, then they shouldn't be able to claim the NFT. And then we also have the mint NFT here. So again, because we're using a pre-built contract from thirdweb as well, we can just call the claim to function. We specify the chain, the contract address of the NFT, and then in the body here, we're going to put in the receiver and the quantity. And in this case, they should only be able to claim one NFT. So we're just going to leave that quantity there as 1. And then we'll be able to set the receiver on who's receiving the NFT. And then from there, we just created a class for thirdweb engine, which is essentially just going to get the owned NFTs. We provide it who we're checking the balance for, and then mint NFT will provide it with who's receiving the NFT. And once we have all of that set, then the last thing we need to do for creating a frame here is just create the API handler to actually go through the whole process of being able to mint the NFT. So up top here, we just define the schema for our request body that we get from Warpcast when they interact with our frame. And then we also define a request query, which is, again, these are going to be the 3 different steps that we've created within this mint process. So start is just the get started screen where they say, see the button that says get started. When they enter recast, this is where we'll be double checking to see if they have recasted or liked the specific cast. And then the 3rd step is mint. And if they're in this one, then they'll be actually minting the NFT. So within this, we first get the type and the trusted data, which is going to be from the request body. And we validate that, again, using the validate message that we are using through Naynar. And if type here is start, so if they're on the first step here, what they're going to do, you can see here, I commented this out. But we can check if they own the NFT. So with this, we can use, again, thirdweb's engine. We'll check if the NFT is owned. In return of validating the message, we can get, again, the FID of the user. We also get the address. So we can check, does the address own the NFT? That's the address here that we provided. If they do own the NFT, then we use the compute HTML to change the image path. You can present a different image if you wanted to. We're keeping the post type still at start, but we change the content of the button to say, hey, you already own this NFT. You can't proceed any further from this because you already own the NFT. But if they don't own the NFT, it means that they haven't gone through this process yet to claim the NFT. And we can then pass on the compute HTML with maybe an image of like and recast button. And then we change the post type to recast here, and then change the content of the button to like and recast to mint. So from there, if they don't own the NFT, they can now enter the next step, which is validating if they have actually liked and recasted the specified cast. So if they are within that recast, then we can check if they have recasted and have liked. So again, we'll just pass the FID from the message that we got and check to see if they have recasted. If they haven't recasted, we can prompt them to say, hey, you have to like and recast in order to mint the NFT. We can do the same thing for liked as well. So again, it's checking both those things, and we're requiring that they do both like and recast in order to mint. And if they do pass those two things, so if they have recasted and they have liked, then we can move them on to the third step, which is the mint step. Again, you can change this image to maybe image of the NFT or something. Right now, we're all referencing the same placeholder image, but again, you can create and put in whatever image you want. Again, we change the post type to mint, and then we change the content of the button to mint here. So now they should be able to go forward and mint the NFT. And again, this here is, if we go back to the validator frame here, let me just refresh this. So again, this is the start. They click on it. It brings them here to the recast. Again, we weren't checking if I own the NFT or not, so it's always going to bring me to the next step. Over here, it'll check if I have liked and recasted, and if I have, which I did on that cast that I showed earlier, it'll then bring me to the mint stage, and we can mint the NFT. And then from there, when we click that mint button, it'll then use engine here to mint the NFT to the address of the user. And once that mint goes through, we can change the image again. We reset the post type back to start. And then this time with the content of the button saying, hey, congrats or success, whatever you want it to say there. And then within all of this here, if we have any errors, we can just use the compute HTML to maybe show error image or something, reset it back to start and just say, hey, something went wrong, please try again. And then they can attempt to go through that whole process again. So again, this is a simple way of validating to make sure, hey, we can make these interactions within Farcaster Frames of double checking or requiring that a person has to like and recast cast prior to minting an NFT. Again, we'll be using Naynar for that. And just really quickly on here, in the compute HTML, we have everything set up in this config file here. And this is everything that we've used throughout this frame. So again, Naynar, you need a Naynar API key. The contract address would be the contract address of the NFT that you want to mint throughout the frame. Now, in this example here, we use the ERC 721 contract, and that's, again, what it was set to for engine and everything. So we did use an ERC 721. If you did want to use this repo and create your own NFT contracts, just make sure that matches the standard that you use. For Warpcast, you need to provide it with a cast hash. So just really quickly, just to show how you can get that cast hash, if you come over to Maynard here and you go to cast, you can retrieve cast right over here, and then you can just provide the URL of a cast. So what we've had to do for this when we've done it is once we double check that everything, or we check it with kind of a example cast that we create ourselves. But if you want to make it so that someone likes and recast the actual frame cast, you'll just have to put up the cast of the frame, then copy that URL that you just casted, and then update your variables with that updated cast hash. So you just take the URL, paste it in here, make sure it's set to URL here. And from here, you can grab the hash right in here. So that hash is what it will use when it double checks this here. So in here, it'll check the hash and it'll bring up the same information. So that's what we've used within the code that we provided. And then down here, the host URL. So this is just going to be the URL that you're hosting your frame on. And then for thirdweb, again, we're utilizing engine. So we do need to supply things like the chain ID that you are going to be deploying your contract to, whatever chain your contract address is deployed to. And then for engine, you're going to need the URL it's hosted on, your access token. And within engine, you will have a backend wallet. So what that backend wallet is in engine, you have a backend wallet. You can just simply create one here. But that backend wallet is kind of your wallet that is going to be making all the on-chain calls and transactions for you. And again, that's all you'll need here. And then these, of course, you will provide those as your environment variables, whether if you deploy this to like Vercel or something, you'll just set all those variables up within that. And that should give you the ability to go ahead and deploy that. And again, you can use the frame validator. This is a tool by Workcast here. You just put in the URL right over here. Let me just reload this. And you can use this to test out your frame to make sure it works prior to actually casting it out. So again, just to walk through this again, we can hit get started. It double checks a like and recast. In this case, it's my test cast that I did prior. So I can click on that. It checks it and says, hey, we did like and recast, so we can now mint. And then when I mint that NFT, again, it utilizes thirdweb's engine, which we have right down here. You can see transaction is now queued up again. It should then send the transaction and mine it, and then we should have that NFT claimed. So I'll wait really quick. There we go, mined. And right over here, it updated to 5, and now we have those 5 NFTs. Oops. Of course, you can add in that simple, where is it? That simple block of code right here that we uncommented to check if they own the NFT. And then that will just stop them from being able to go any further within your frame from claiming more than one of the NFT. But yeah, that snippet's in there. We just commented it out for this demo here, just so we could demo it a few more times. But in a nutshell, that is, how we've created frames, Farcaster frames, utilizing Maynard again to check and validate if a user has like and recasted a cast, and then utilizing thirdweb's engine to go ahead and actually mint those NFTs. So yeah, I did want to, hopefully that was a nice walkthrough of everything. We do also have a video tutorial that I did walking through step by step, actually going through the whole coding process of making this frame. It's on our YouTube channel, so on thirdweb's YouTube channel. And then we also have in that video description links to the GitHub repo and everything for everything that I just went over. Hopefully that was a nice walkthrough and overview of how to build this Farcaster frame. I did want to leave some time at the end to kind of answer any questions or anything. So yeah, thank you guys.
Cheers. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, just if anybody has any questions, please feel free to take yourself off mute and ask or type in the Zoom chat. And if not, I think we can probably end it here then. So, Sean, again, thanks for a great workshop and presentation. And for all the hackers that are here as well, thank you all for attending. This was the last workshop for frameworks. So if you started with us at the very beginning, earlier this morning or evening, depending on where you are, and you made it here. So definitely kudos, hats off to you. But yeah, looking forward to seeing what everybody produces this weekend as well. And all of these, the workshops will be posted on our YouTube channel too. So if you missed them, feel free to, you can always find them there. But yeah, awesome. Cheers. Thanks again, Sean. Have a good rest of your
Thank you so
Friday.
much.
And everybody have a good rest of your Friday and good weekend. Happy hacking.